I'm just really honored and thrilled to have practitioner Agi Papik with us today. And I've had the great pleasure of um, of knowing Augie now for, like, I'm trying to think of what year, probably 2011, maybe 2010. We met, and we met, I think, at a class with Janet Galippo in downtown Toronto. And Janet Galippo is one of the BodyTalk system's senior instructors, and so Augie and I met then, and there were a small group of us practitioners that really became very good friends in Toronto, and we moved on to, with the help of Jusara Lourenco, who I think may be on the call today as well, who now lives in Portugal, but she helped us to set up a community clinic in Toronto where Augie and a number of other practitioners came in to help to mentor new BodyTalk students so that they could actually get their certification. And it was a really beautiful structure, because as you saw at the time, was working at as a therapist and working with really some people that were going through some pretty big challenges, primarily women and children. And we were able to partner up and work with them as clients with our new practitioners. So they were able to actually work on these women and children while gaining their certification. And Augie was completely dedicated to coming in and mentoring the new practitioners, as well as doing many, many sessions. So, we did that for a number of years, and it was just, and our friendship really strengthened over the years. And as a practitioner, I'm actually just going to put you on mute for a moment, Augie, so that the sound quality is good, because I'm gonna extol your virtues to everyone. And I know that we have an Augie fan club. We have a lot of Augie's clients and on the call, and I'm not surprised because she's just an incredible practitioner. Um, it's interesting. We were talking prior to doing this, and I invited her a couple weeks ago because her knowledge of the human body and her dedication to detail, to me, is absolutely inspiring. So whereas I tend to be a very big picture thinker, and uh, not to say Augie isn't, but she's just a master of detail, and this just insatiable drive to understand how the body works at all of these different levels in a very detailed form. And so she's gone on to study all kinds of advanced BodyTalk courses, but she's also integrated, I call them sort of courses or studies that have come out of the BodyTalk system. So Accunect, which was created by Kami, and he created this, but he was actually he worked with Dr. John Beltime of the BodyTalk system for years, but then really was inspired to create his own system, and Augie has studied that. And then Dr. Janet Galippo, who I talked about a little bit earlier, and Dr. Laura Stuve, both senior practitioners within the BodyTalk system, have also now gone on to create their own new system called BodyIntuitive. And Augie has totally embraced that. And it's really, I'm going to actually ask Augie to tell us a little bit more about that, because to me, it's just not only a distillation of what BodyTalk is and the incredible knowledge base, but also really bringing in, the modern science that we know. And that's really Dr. Laura Stuve's specialty, as well as, this ancient Chinese medicine. So, and then Augie has also been very humble, which is the other reason why I really wanted to invite her to this, because to me, I'm grateful to all of you for continuing to wanting to come out and share your energy with this group healing, and to bring that intention for healing. And for me, it's to be able to share any kind of value that I can with all of you And so bringing in Augie, well, you'll see what the value is. So without further ado, and Augie, I'm just gonna just ask a couple specific questions that you might want to talk to, because we had this conversation before we started the call, and Augie was talking about, you know, what she was envisioning and in tuning into for our group prior to the session. So, you know, this is what I call mastery, because she knows she's going to be doing this, and she's already tuning into the energy of everyone to see, okay, what is it that's needed for us in this immune boost. So I'm really excited to invite you, Augie, to share a little bit with us about.
Okay, hello there. So happy that all of you could tune in. And for those of you that will be tuning in later, hello, welcome. Um, I think today, or I don't even know, it's like a culmination of why I was driven to study and do and know what I learn. And I've always been interested in health, alternative health, getting healthy without drugs, without having to see a doctor. Yes, there are times we need a doctor, we need operations, but I'm more kind of like the grassroots, you know, hippy dippy kind of person. um, oh dear, there's so much information coming in. It's difficult to start. Okay, so first of all, yes, tons of body talk. I feel like I've done a PhD in body talk studies, but from then it's kind of like morphed into other energy fields, other energy aspects. And really what I'm understanding now, they are just kind of all labels and titles, but it's all the same. We're just balancing energy and frequency. It's just energy and frequency. I'm finally getting that. It took 10 years, but I now see it and I now understand it. So yes, I've done many, many modalities, and I just kind of fuse them all in wherever it's needed for the group consciousness or an individual that I work with. In the last few years, I would say about the last 5 years, I've been really attracted to Dr. Laura Stuve. She's an epigeneticist in California. She worked in, she has her PhD. She worked in the Genome Project for I don't know how many years. But bottom line, with all this science, she just could see people were not getting better. So she was introduced into BodyTalk, and then all of a sudden, all her health issues were getting better. And so she decided she wanted to take the knowledge, the scientific knowledge of genetics, epigenetics, inherited predispositions that we come into this lifetime with, and teach us how we can give us tools to unlock the epigenetics of past and present. So I really took a deep dive into that. I really, really enjoy it. And then there's Dr. Janet Galippo. She is of traditional Chinese medicine, but as she more likes to state, classical Chinese medicine, taking the ancient wisdom of that going back 5,000 years before they even knew, you know, that we had blood, we had organs. They just kind of, you know, took your pulse and checked the frequency and then figured out ways to balance frequency within the body, which is in our meridian systems. So that is my passion. And now I am combining the East and the West, finding amazing results using both, the Western, Eastern, Ayurvedic comes into. And then just recently, because of what we've all been going through in the globe, studying how the stress of the pandemic affects everybody, and to be able to give people coping strategies, calming strategies, and then plus also to going in the back door and taking a look at where the stress affects, you know, your brain pathways and how you respond to life, and to be able to reset that stress response so you can stay in a calmer state for a longer time. And then, giving techniques for the clients to be aware of when they are being triggered and going, oh, I'm doing that again. And then just, very simple exercises like I had mentioned. Go hug a tree for 5 minutes. It just really is a great chill pill. It helps to allow Mother Earth just to take all that stress out of your body. My latest studies is with Dr. Janet Galippo. She looked at in China when in Wuhan, when everybody was in the hospital and they were dying, and why wasn't the Western doctors able to help people? They brought in the ancient Chinese doctors who had the classical training and started treating the clients that were in the ICU with acupuncture points, the herbs, looking at the meridians, and being able to calm the inflammation within the body, to strengthen the energy, or what they call the chi flow within the body. And then within a 3-month period after that, they were able to get control of the pandemic and people dying. And maybe, I don't know why, maybe it might be why they have lower numbers, or they're just not telling us the truth. But again, Janet did a lot of research on this, and she has now come up with a protocol that body talkers can use to address it from that perspective. So Linda and I are here to help, again, balance these frequencies and energies so that we can cope with our current situation. That's all I got, Linda. Back to you.
Okay, I'm excited. Thank you so much. And someone had asked in the chat if you'll be able to ask questions, and certainly we can do some Q&A at the end of the session. So the format that we'll use, well, how we're going to start anyway, because as most of you know, this is an intuitive process. So we do have a lot of structure, these courses that we draw from and this information, but ultimately we have to find out once we go into the session what the priorities are. And so what Agi and I thought would be a nice way to start, and also really setting the tone when we're talking about being able to reduce stress, is to go into a bit of an experiential meditation. And I hesitate to use a visualization because not everyone has visual strength, but we're going to use a sensory meditation to be able to bring our bodies more into an open and parasympathetic state. So start with that. And so, Augie, sorry, I hate to ask, but can you mute yourself? I just want to ensure that our audio, because we have another 50 people that are going to be listening to this afterward. I'm going to start the meditation. So, if you're in a place where
I can just quickly mention what
go for it.
Up is from your meditation that you will be going first. You're going to be diving in, and then when you're ready, you'll pass it on to me. I've already kind of envisioned what's going to be happening, but so innately, if I ask, it's like you go first, and then I'll tag team in after. Yeah.
Sounds great. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll just to make sure we're on the same page too, right?
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like everybody is starting to get comfortable, and just a little reminder, if you're not on mute, if you would kindly mute, because that way we can just ensure that that the sound quality is good for everyone. And just begin with taking a few slow, deep breaths. And so for this process, you're welcome to close your eyes or keep them open. It's completely up to you. I tend to close my eyes even when I'm talking to you guys on the screen, but so yeah, just starting with a few deep breaths and just bringing your awareness to your breath. So just really connecting with how your breath feels as it expands your lungs. And then how your body feels as your breath releases from your body, and how you kind of fall into wherever you are with that release. And allow yourself to really connect with what you're being supported by. So whatever you're sitting on, whatever you're laying on, really become aware of how your body is connecting to that and being supported from that. So if it's the chair underneath you, just becoming aware of how your legs or your back are connecting to and are supported by with each deep breath that you do. And so when you release your breath, you can really allow yourself to be supported by what's beneath you, and allow yourself that support. And again, with the next breath, if you feel any tension anywhere in your body, just bring your breath and awareness to that area and just breathe into it. So if it's into your shoulders or into your lower back, in your feet, wherever that tension may be held, just allow your breath to move towards that area, expanding and then releasing that. And then slowly bringing your awareness to the outside of your body, to your skin, and to how your skin feels and connects with your outer environment. So in this way, you can sense the temperature around you. You can sense the difference in temperature in one area to another. And as you breathe into that, you can imagine that connection is expanding and deepening that connection with the environment around you. And with the next inhalation, once again, imagine that your skin is breathing and expanding and inhaling the environment in from around you, and bringing that air and that energy into your body. And then slowly bring your awareness back into your heart, into your lung and heart area. Going right deep into the energy center of your heart area, into the stillness in that area, into the calmness of that area. Continuing to gently breathe and allow that expansion and contraction. I'm feeling, Agi, that's your cue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as I was trying to get into this meditative state with all of you, there was just this incredible static that was coming in and this buzz and everything. So we need to do kind of like what we call a reset of our the main communication. It's called a communication triad within the body. And what first came up is our immune system. to reset the immune system. And then came up the endocrine system, which is the hormonal response, to, stress response, to kind of calm and do a reset on that. And then the brain, the nervous system is just like, there's just incredible amount of static. So to reset that. And in that way, with a reset, it's kind of like in your house, you know, when you've plugged in too many appliances and the whole panel downstairs just shut off. It's like we're kind of resetting the panel and turning things back on to allow some flow, to get some energy moving. And that's what I was getting. So you don't need to remember these all. I'll just quickly tell you, and I will be activating them for you. So the immune reset, if you want, you can just put your hands on your lungs at the moment, is where I'm getting, and it's going to be lung 7 in both areas. And then you can look these up on Google Images if you want to use them, but I just don't want to take the time now. And the next area is kidney 2 acupuncture point, both on the left and right aspects. And then stomach 40 on both left and the right aspects. This will reset and calm your immune system. And then the endocrine system is your hormonal response. So I'm getting triple warmer 6 on the right, kidney 6 on the right, and stomach 36 on the right. And then for your nervous system reset, I'm getting urinary bladder 62 on both sides, spleen 6 bilateral, both sides, and large intestine 11. Yes, this is a very good one for everybody. It's like when they just, so I'm going to be, I see that by using large intestine 11, this is something that all of you can use after this session as a reset for all 3 of what we just discussed. So not needing to remember only this one point. And so this is kind of like going to be a downloaded formula all within this one point for you. And I will share with that where it is. So when you bend your elbow, there is a crease in the elbow, and then eventually on the yeah, on the inside here, you follow the crease, and before you get to the bone, there is a hole there, okay? And what I do is I cross my hands and I put my 3rd finger in this hole. I put my 3rd finger in this hole, and you know, it's like, and I'm seeing I Dream of Jeannie. Boom. It's like instantaneously by wiggling and jiggling these points with the formula that I have downloaded, which I will now activate for you. This is going to instantly calm the immune system. Going to calm the hormonal response, the endocrine system, and it's going to calm the nervous system, which is the neurotransmitters, you know, going into like fight and flight and just all this fear. That's all you have to do. So throughout the day, when you're just kind of feeling in a bit of overwhelm, just do that. I Dream of Jeannie, and just kind of go with that. Take a couple of deep breaths, and you will feel that there will be a calmness coming from that. I got what we call in BodyTalk terms a resource satellite. So bringing in the energy of the nature. I just saw a bunch of leaves. So I was out in the forest, you know, again, I was jokingly talking about hugging a tree, but basically bringing in the energy of Mother Nature, of this nurturing, of calming us from the stress response with this, which is a sympathetic nervous system, pedal to the metal, just go, 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 go. When we're in that state, the body cannot repair itself. It's just constantly, chronically in stress. And it's going to reset into the parasympathetic. That's when we're in calmness, and that's when the body repairs itself. So this is the energy of Mother Nature, of just kind of, the message I was getting is that it's just going to reassure us that things will be okay. So that energy is all infused into this. Okay, so I'm getting that. I can go on. So that's just kind of our first parcel. Okay. Now I'm looking at the our immune system. Oh, sorry, there's other information I need to give you. We're bringing in the energy of what we call it hydration. So we drink a lot of water, but because of the stress, the cells may not be taking it in because we're so stressed. So now we're going to kind of reset the instruction for the body that when we're drinking water, and I imagine the 100 trillion plus cells in our body as these little happy faces, and they all have a straw, and they're just drinking in this water. And the water that I see is this pristine, clear water. If you're up in the mountains, and from the snow caps, the water is melting and you're just drinking in that pure water. We call this easy water, or the crystalline structured water. And that is the purest form of water that we can take in. So that'll help to hydrate us, calm the inflammation. And then it's also kind of oriented around all this worry and fear, this global worry and fear. But as long as we keep our body hydrated, again, this is another aspect of keeping it in a calm state. So now that has been, again, kind of downloaded like an app for you. You know, you go onto your phone and you look at what do I need. This app has now been downloaded for you, so that every time you drink, you can just see a little yellow happy face with a straw in it. You have a whole community of them in your body, and they're drinking in this clear crystalline water. Okay, so now I'm able to go into the immune system for you. So I did what we call an immune system report card, and I went through all the various cells in the immune system. And what needs to be looked at right now is our early warning system. We have interferons, and they are getting an F. They have been shut down and confused. And they're the interferon alpha and betas. So they're just in too much confusion. And this is our early warning system. They're within all our cells. So we want to activate our early warning system. Yes, we want to activate the early warning system so that they can do their job. So we're going to organize and optimize the function just to bring them kind of back online. And then I'm taken to the what we are called the killer T cells. They look for viruses, but they are now what I call cloaked. They are misbehaving because of all the antibiotics that we have taken over the last 6 years. Now, there's several epigenetic markers on this, but I'm not going to go through that right now. When Linda takes over, I'm going to step back and actually look at the epigenetic markers that have come up and automatically unlock them for you, so that now these T cells can actually, it's like they have this black mask on. We need to take it off and then remind them like, okay, hey, we need you, come do the job. So that's what I'm going to be doing there after I pass it on to you. The next area is antibodies. We have plasma B cells that create antibodies. We have some that are available. They're doing fine. We have some available, but the production is very low. And what I'm getting here is the production is very sporadic, so that Linda had said that we want to look at this for the potential of if we get a vaccine to help produce the antibodies. But if we get this vaccine, but the body, it's not working, we can get the vaccine, but our body will still not be able to produce the antibodies because the job description, it's like the switch is off right now. And what it did was it took it offline because of viruses that we've had in the past. So again, this is something I'm going to look at while Linda's working with you. I need to investigate this a little further. So there's one, there's two. And then the last thing I'm going to do at the moment is look at, we have warriors and we have peacekeepers, immune cells. And the ones I'm looking at is the peacekeeper B reg cells. They are failing. They cannot keep the peace. They cannot we have warriors and peacekeepers, but we've been on such a rampage of these warriors that they're out fighting, and there's so much inflammation. The peacekeepers are exhausted, just kind of like our poor doctors and nurses and people that drive the ambulances. They're beyond exhausted. So we need to boost them back up and bring the support that they need. And so what I'm getting is that what has also exhausted them is that for people, if you can just take a moment right now, it's the 4 top stressors that you have experienced in the last 6 years. So if we can take about 1 or 2 minutes for each an individual, write them down what they are, that focus will be brought in, and I'll be able to use that to be able to release or yeah, like just acknowledge that this is what stressed them out, but release that stress, so that whatever you've dealt with is still sitting within you. It has not been processed. And this is an extra burden that these peacekeeper regs are having to, I've lost my words. It's just this extra burden and they can't do their job. So if we can do that, we're going to recognize those. In the end, I will come back to do what we call an emotional resolution technique to resolve those for you. And that's what I'm getting. And back to you, Linda, while I work in the background.
Yeah, that was amazing. So I just said too, if you wanted to share your top 4 in the chat, you're most welcome to, but it doesn't matter as long as you include them. That's great. Okay, so as you were working, Agi, I was actually getting a lot of things coming up, almost like a parallel. But I think that there's going to be some timing with that. Mm-hmm. But I'll see how that wants to come up. So I'm just going to back up because, as I said, it's like all the stuff is coming in as Augie's working.
Yeah.
So one of the things that came in, and it's like a very macro level, is the sun's energy. So particularly the vitality, but then also as our sense of purpose. And so as soon as I got this sense of purpose, this great sense of disruption and loss came in relation to our disconnection. And this really led me into the 11th astrological house, using that sort of archetypal qualities of the 11th house and going into our sense of community. That's part of what the 11th house relates to, is our sense of community and how this has really been impacted, particularly over the last year. And so how that then has related into this sense of loss and disconnect. And so with this, that's part of how the sun's energy is coming in. It's like to revitalize that sense of community. And then how our own sense of purpose really reflects in our sense of connection with others. So that came in. And then there was this consciousness balancing of like a collective consciousness in relation to our own personal ability to learn. So, I'm talking in these really macro ways because of the collectiveness of the challenges that we faced. And so these things all have related and impacted all of us. So you know, that in a sense, it's a gift in this way, because in this way, what's happening is that it can make us feel isolated, but the other side of that is that it actually brings us together. So that's what this is helping to really shift that awareness from that sense of isolation to, wow, we're really all in this together, and how that at a collective consciousness level can bring us more together. Further on this, it takes me into this ability to, it takes us into our innate learning capacities. And this probably reflects with what Agi was talking about when we talk about our innate immunity. This is also, it's like our herd immunity, right? So when we think about how we evolve and how our energy shifts and changes and how we respond and adapt, it's that very thing that's coming in with this collective consciousness shift, is very much about that innate learning ability and capacity that is both collective as well as individual. So all of this is very like a big linking in to anchoring into the individuation process. I'm just going to sit with this for a moment and see if anything else is going to come up. Yeah. So there's also this balancing to the subtle sense of hearing, and this ability to tune in to this connectivity and tune into this collective consciousness and this group shift, being able to tune into that type of herd immunity, and that innate learning capacity. And that's that. So Agi.
Sorry, still working.
Okay.
I'm very close. Okay. So all of those were downloaded. Now we can look at the, I'd like you to look at your list. And I want you to take the first stressor that is, misbehaving. Which one was the stressors? Oh, okay. So this is the balancing for the peacekeepers, the B regulators, because they're just in overwhelm because of all the top 4 stresses. So I want you to take the top stressor that you're dealing with. You can watch me. I will walk you through how to release this stress because it's just still sitting in you. This is a great technique that all of you can use anytime you're in overwhelm, anytime you don't think you can deal with whatever is happening, actually, anytime you're really angry, pissed off, frustrated. So whenever you're dealing with a negative emotion or overwhelm, this is an amazing way to process it. So just watch me first and then I'll walk you through it. So you rate the stressor. That's all you can, all of you can do that right now. From 1 to 10, what is the stressor? How much is it like irritating you, aggravating you? How much is it affecting you? And write down that stress number. Okay, then the second step is we're going to do a breathing technique to release this. So what we do is, as we are thinking of the stressor, you look to your right shoulder. Now, the smart ones, you'll see that I'm looking to my left, but I'm doing it for you. You look to your right shoulder. You can close your eyes or open your eyes. As you think of the stressor, you take a huge inhalation and look to your left, look to your left shoulder. So inhale. And when you get to the left shoulder, you sweep back to the right shoulder and exhale. You can join in with me now. Think of the stressor, look to your right shoulder, inhale. As you sweep your breath over to the left, and then a big exhalation as you sweep back to the right. I want you to continue doing this until I feel the levels drop. You can do it at your own pace. With each exhalation, you are releasing the stressor. Another emotion can pop up around this, a bit of a release. I feel some of you are crying a little bit. That's okay. Invite these other emotions to come in and continue breathing with the emotion that is presented. It's all part and parcel of the story. For a few of you, there's a couple of relatives that have passed. They're helping to give you the hug that you need, because some of you are releasing some grief, and they're just there to energetically give you a hug so that you can process the sorrow or grief. That's what I'm sensing. There's some of you crying. Okay, so when you're finished sweeping back to the right, I want you to pause. The second part of this technique is we're going to do the same breathing from right, inhale, sweeping to the left, exhale, sweeping to the right. And then this time you're going to visualize of reclaiming all this energy that you spent on this emotion that you were dealing with. It just really sapped you of your energy. So now it's as if you're kind of breathing it in as if it's oxygen. You're reclaiming this energy and you're vitalizing your body, getting this back in. It's like you're charging your batteries. You're okay, I'm charging it back up. Energetically, I'm just charging myself back up. So big inhalation, right to left. Reclaim all of this and then exhale. This is empowering you. Another inhalation in. Okay, so now I'm getting a sense of calmness. Now I'd like you to check in with your energy levels and see where that stress marker is. If it's gone down, what is it? A 1, a 2, a 3? I'm getting most of you were managed to bring it down to a 2. Any of you that are still up at say a 4, a 5, or 6, I invite you to keep working with this. Do it a few more times today, and in time you can get that down. Then you go on to the one that's not maybe today, but another day, tackle number 2, stressor number 3, stressor. So you can use this as a very, very powerful tool. It resets the brain. It helps to deal with the emotions that are stuck within the body. All these emotions really tax the immune system. It really is just this extra burden that it just doesn't need, and it helps to release this. So this is a way that you can help your own immune system by dealing with whatever frustrations. I can give you an example. One of my clients, they are a teacher, and they have to deal daily with the frustrations of what the government is doing, of what the principals, management, the Toronto School Board, whatever the school boards are telling you. Some of the stuff they're asking is like almost humanly impossible. And then plus the fear, and then having to manage children at home that are learning from home, and then having to manage, just everything. It's just way too much. This is a really, really great tool to help release that so that you can, continue with all that you need to do. Yes, and I just have one more thing I'm going to share with you. I'm not going to do that. I was going to do some other aspects of Eastern medicine, but I'm getting a no to that right now. there is this kind of another resource satellite, just kind of something out there that we can use. I will share with you my imagery. So when Linda first invited me to do this session, and we weren't quite sure how we were going to do this, I went into what I call, some of us call, Nindscape. And I did some, I went into my, I don't know how I'm going to say this, a way that I travel. I can travel to the past, I can travel to the future, I can travel to wherever I need to be to find the solution for what we are dealing with right now. And I was taken to a time that is 20 years from now. And when I went into this place, it's a place where we're going to be able to go. And it's like you walk into this room and it has the healthy job descriptions of all our immune systems. So how I saw this is I was standing in a white room and there were all these bubbles floating around in the room, pink ones, yellow ones, orange ones, purple ones, blue ones, rainbow ones, but they all represented different immune cells. But they had the healthy job description of how they're supposed to do their jobs. And all we had to do was stand in the room and kind of get the update. You know how our cell phones, they ask, you know, update in software. So you just only had to stand there and it would energetically update whatever was required without us needing to know. But by standing in this room, it just automatically happened. And it was so cool. So I have that kind of sitting up there too as a resource or frequency that we can tap into of resetting our immune system, if you wish. But that energy was brought in too. And that was kind of a fun thing that I saw. Anything else? No, that's all I have for today. I was hoping to get into our meridians and stuff, but maybe another time. That's all I got for today, Linda.
Yeah, thank you. I have a little bit to add. And thank you for that exercise too. I could really feel the shifts as I was doing that. I'm sure everyone else could really sense that too. I was listening to the numbers. So you told me to write a number down, and as I did that, I could hear the numbers drop.
Right. So that was your experience.
Yeah.
Everybody else will experience it differently. I just feel that this tension and this weight that you have as you breathe, you get this sense of relaxation. Or you could have something that happens with Linda, or whatever your way of processing, it's all good. Whatever you're seeing and feeling, it's all good. But in the end, you just feel so loosey-goosey, like a bowl of Jello is kind of what we're going for.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, so I'm just going to ask everybody to kind of go back into your breath, and just allow that breath to just allow it to bring you into your being. So what came up? This actually came up when I was doing a matrix session on our group, and so this isn't so much about what Agi and I are doing, but it was really setting the structure for this group and the energy. And one of the things that came up was our group's Wei Qi. So Wei Qi being our protective energy. And it's definitely our individual protective energy as well as the group's energy. And more specifically in this was our psychic and really media protection from other people's thoughts, other people's emotions, and the media and communication systems, and to really strengthen that. How it came up to strengthen, because it came back to me again, so I felt the need to share it, is to bring in a spiral. So the energy of a spiral, you know, a small spiral that starts and spirals out and then spirals back in again. And so as I had this image come in again, the next thing that came up was this relation, how this, you know, how it is that we can strengthen our own Wei Qi, what impacts that? And what came up was attachments to emotions. And further on those attachments to emotions was the many, many judgments of, how we're judging situations right now. And how these judgments can limit possibility for adaptability. So, the big thing here is being able to start to shift and balance those judgments and how they influence our own protection, which is, of course, going to filter down to our immune systems. But then to support this shift of this kind of judgment, because when we think about a judgment, it's like the way I look at judgment is like, this is this. Okay, so this is bad. That's a judgment. I'm making a judgment on this. This thing that is happening is bad. And if it's just bad, then I've limited it because I've said it's bad. And therefore, I've limited any possibility that there could be something else there. There could be another potential within that. So it's helping to detach from those kind of labels of bad and good or wrong or right. And it's not to say things aren't bad and good and wrong and right, but it's about being able to detach, to open up to new possibilities and flexibility. And so what came in to really support this was this activation of this archetypal creative energy. So like when I say to you, what is an artist or what is a creative, we all know that expression of creativity. And there's so much joy that can come in to an expression of creativity. Even when I listen to Agi and the creativity that comes through these systems, and that ignites our sense of joy. And when we are joyful, our immune system starts to expand. And it like that joy just energizes our whole being. So it's like this real activation of this creativity. And I'm trying to ground it. I'm like, okay, so this is what Augie and I were talking about too, right? Because I'm the big macro balancer and this is how, but it's like I'm grounding it, but it doesn't actually need to be grounded because it's in this whole session. So it's part of this whole session. So that's enough to inform it other than this spiral. So the spiral is like, to me, I get a sense that it's the energy of bliss consciousness, that creative consciousness, that spiral of creativity, that we see that spiral in every single thing in nature. We see it in the ferns and we see it in the universe. And, it's like this, it is this creation energy. So that's it for me.
I have something to add.
Great.
So in my Eastern list of what I wanted to do that I got a no to, the top one was Wei Qi. So I wasn't meant to do it. Linda was, but I can help bring in a support acupuncture point from the Eastern perspective, which I have downloaded for you guys. You don't need to do it. But as Linda was talking, I was activating this point, and it's called Kidney 7. Again, you guys can look this up on our wonderful Google Internet.
Oh, Augie, sorry, could I just interrupt? This is so funny because as I'm doing, I forgot to mention that I was getting kidney energy. And
that's great. So what this is, there's a lot of, in our Wei Qi, there's a lot of dampness that's accumulated. And this is the stickiness that you were talking about. So everything is all these emotions are sticking to it because we have a dampness accumulated in our Wei Qi. So with this kidney 7 increasing the strength of our kidney yang, it will help disperse these fluids. Hence, I'm getting chills everywhere now. If people know me, it's like, so this means that it doesn't have that place to stick anymore. It just, the emotions will now just kind of like, you'll think of it and it'll be processed without sticking. So that's kind of what I got. Kidney yang, we're improving kidney yang to clear this dampness, the stickiness of the emotions. Cool.
And is that the tap out for you, Agi? What are you feeling here? Like,
no, what you were saying, it was being processed, and I was just adding the energy of kidney 7 in while you were doing it, and bringing in the strength of the kidney yang to clear that stickiness so that the emotions no longer stick. And when that happened, what I saw was the spiral was even more fluid, and instead of being so contracted, you know, as if something is trying to open, you know, if you watch the fern and slow process to open, it was kind of like sticking in parts, but now it's just a very fluid, yeah. Sometimes words don't cover it all. It's just fluid, like you said now, yeah.
so you have, can you please, I feel that you're going to do you want to lead the tap out on this, Agi?
Okay. Okay. So you want me to do a master tapping? Okay. So do they need to do it? Sure. Okay. So it's a bit of a different tapping than we're used to: the head, the heart, the brain. I will read it to you, so I don't have it quite memorized. I just see it. I will put it into words for you. So we have 3 activation zones that we use in this body intuitive, if you wish. So what you do is you pretend that you have a swimmer's cap on, and this is going to be the area that we are going to be covering. And you start taking your finger, and it's like as if you're lightly tapping your head and going up and down, activating. And what we're doing is we're waking up the brain and the chi flow. And there's over 100 acupuncture points throughout our acupuncture points throughout the head. And this is just the channels of the meridian that is sending all this information down that we have discussed today. So this is just kind of like, again, downloading this information and saying, hello, here's what we're doing, here's the healing. And it's a rapid resolution of any imbalances. And it redirects the activity of the body and the mind as needed. So it's kind of like giving the marching orders. Then we go to the heart activation zone. This is between conception vessel 17 and 14. And you just, again, take these butterfly fingers and up and down or across. And this kind of energetically activates the heart and the lungs. And this is where we deal with a lot of our emotional stuff and the free flow of breath. So if we've got all these emotions, it's going to affect these areas. Not that it doesn't affect other, but this is what it is. So it's a balancing of mental and emotional behavior, bringing in love, harmony, and stability. Then we go down to the third brain, the gut brain, and this is called the navel activation zone. 4 fingers above the navel is conception vessel 10, the navel is conception vessel 8, and then 4 fingers below is conception vessel 6. So, oh no, 3 fingers below, sorry. You don't need to remember these. Okay, so this helps with the digestive organs and functions. It helps to extract and transform all the essences from the water and food that we take in. And it's really foundational for the kidney energy from the Eastern perspective, but also the Western of elimination and reproduction. There, okay. So I think with all of us doing it, I just feel a real buzz happening right now. I don't know about you guys, but I am. That was very cool. Thank you. So that's my tap out.
Thank you, Agi. Yeah, I just knew that we needed to do that one in particular, and yeah, it was amazing. Thank you. Well, I feel like I'm downloading. So we did say, now, Agi, would you be do you want to do a few questions and answers? You know, I actually, before we do that, do you mind if I just actually make another little announcement? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've been doing these sort of weekly things, and I really am excited about another colleague practitioner of mine who's offering something exciting, and it's going to be next Sunday. And I just wanted to share this with you guys because figure out how to share it. There he is. And Miha or Mihila, can you guys see that now? Yeah. So she's on the call with us today, but she is a psychotherapist and be doing this grounding emotions for creating inner stability. And when she told me the title, I was just like, my heart just expanded. And so this is next Sunday at 3 p.m. So if you're interested, you can just email me. And I mean, Miha's another practitioner that I've known for 14 years actually, and energy, you can tell by her smile. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be a workshop, but also teach some meditation techniques and techniques for specifically grounding. So if you'd like to join, I just wanted to share that with you. You can just send me an email. So thank you, Miha, for being willing to join. So I just wanted to share that now. Some Q&A, and I mean, I tell you, Agi, with that new material that you're working with, I also have questions, but I'll let everybody else go. So if you have a question, if you wouldn't mind chatting in that you have a question, and then that way I can direct that, so that way we just ensure that it's smooth. So because someone asked, or if you want to put, I guess, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a gallery view so I can see everybody. But if anybody has a question or comment or anything like that, everybody's, oh, thank yous. But Natasha, hi Natasha from BC. So Natasha, yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us. And
okay, Helen is asking to show the last tapping, so the activation of the 3 centers. So just quickly, pretend you have a swimmer's cap on. So that's going to be the area that you just kind of want to take your fingers and just tap very lightly, and then just seeing like these 100 points in your head just kind of light up. It's like a little Christmas tree, a white Christmas tree. You're just lighting up and activating all these points. They are meridian points in your brain. And this is then going to channel and send this information throughout all your body, throughout the meridians. Then you go to the heart area, just kind of like above your breast and below your breast. Any man, well, I guess it's the same area, but without the filling. And you just kind of, again, tap your fingers, like you're tickling up and down and up and down. Sometimes you may feel that it gets a little sticky or it doesn't want to move. Just keep breathing through it, and eventually then it'll just go, and then you'll feel it very light and go. Then you go to your navel, and you just start a few inches above and a few inches below. And you just do the same process, up and down and up and down, as long as you need, until you feel this, sense of calmness or release happening. The more you play with it, we got to practice. Everything is like, it's like our intuitive muscle. The more we use it, the better we get at it. So just play with it. Okay, that's that. The tapping. Thank you. Thank you. Please stand up for the third one again. Okay, Helen, watch. Here's my navel. A little bit above and a little bit below. Then you take your fingers and you just go tickle, 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 up and down, up and down. And this is helping to activate the gut brain and process all that we did. Yeah. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Oh, reclaiming the energy, this positive breath. Okay, Michelle. So when we were doing this, I like just to call it the sweeping breath, emotional resolution. Once you feel that sense of calmness and the numbers have come